Today, the MEGJC Matrix will be hitting the road, literally, as we explore the transformative work of the National Works Agency. From major highways to essential road repairs, the NAA is at the forefront of building a stronger, more connected Jamaica. Joining us is Stephen Shaw, Communication and Customer Services Manager at the NAA, and he will share insights on the agency's ongoing projects, future plans, and the impact of infrastructure development on communities across the island. So, buckle up, Jamaica. Stephen Shaw is here to take us on a journey through the NAA's road to progress. Stephen, welcome to the MEGJC Matrix.
Thank you.
You know, everybody's asking what is happening to my road, what is happening with Spark and Reach and all of that, and we're going to be talking about those today. But first of all, start us off by talking about some of the major projects that the NAA would have implemented in 2025.
All right. So in 2024-25, we would have continued our work with the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project, which is a big project that is focusing on improving the conditions of the road between Harborview and that's St. Andrew and Port Antonio in Portland. Of course, there's a bit of the money that would have been used to extend the east-west toll road, but we are not the authority for toll roads. So I can speak about the main road network, which is that from Harborview to Port Antonio. We have completed the stretch from Harborview to Yallas. That was open. That's a 17-kilometer dual carriageway that was opened in the 24-25 year. We have also been able to complete work on 3 of the other 15 packages. We have 15 distinct packages that we are working through in terms of the roads in St. Thomas and Portland. The package 10, which is the one from Mansion Yield, that one has been completed. We've also completed the Hardley package, and we have completed the road from Drapers to Port Antonio over there in Portland. We are working on the remaining packages, and we are looking to have the entire SCHIP program completed by the end of the summer of 2025.
Now, what about bridges? What works have we done on our bridges? And yeah.
We have a couple of bridges that we are actually working on. Troy has been in the news, and I have gone there a couple of times since. We're making steady progress. The piles have been driven. What's now happening is that we're preparing to do what is called the pile cap, and then after that we're going to start the construction of the box culvert that is going to be facilitating the movement across that section of the Hector's River. There is the Spring Village Bridge over there in St. Catherine. That too is work in progress. But you know, it's going to be a pretty exciting next several months for us as it relates to our bridge network, because you know the government is in the process of having funding identified and us selecting a number of locations across the country where bridges are going to be rebuilt. We have nearly 40 locations that we are going to be targeting to include a couple of pedestrian bridges as well.
What is the NAA doing for what you call those interior roads?
Well, we have done much work as it relates to other roads. I can cite, for example, in Westmoreland, the road from Witham to Darlaston was rehabilitated in full. We had a lot of interest over there, protest after protest, and we did promise that we would have gone in and rehabilitated, and we have done so. That project has been completed. In the parish of Trelawney, we have had rehabilitative works that are ongoing, completed and ongoing. The road from Falmouth to Springvale comes to mind. We did a bit from Wakefield heading towards Springvale in 2023. And then we started last year that from Martha Bray to Bounty Hall. That too has been done. We have a plan to do from Bounty Hall into Wakefield. So we're doing it in increments, making the situation or the experience that much better for those persons in that space. On the other side of Trelawney, the southern side of Trelawney, we have done the road from Jacksontown up to Sawyers. It's a control section, Jacksontown to Ulster Spring. We have done that from Jacksontown to Sawyers, and the intent is to do that from Sawyers up to Ulster Spring, leading into Albertown. In St. Anne, we have done the road from Runaway Bay to Brownstown, New Bitter Road over there. We have done similar works in Manchester. We have done works in Clarendon. So I think all the parishes would have gotten the benefit of our efforts through the secondary maintenance of secondary roads program. We recognize that the challenges are there as it relates to the quality of our roads, and we are doing all that we can within the constraints that they are, because they are constraints, mainly to do with funding availability.
Right. And I do recall that the Prime Minister mentioned some time ago about the life of a road.
Yes.
And is what, 15 years or?
We design roads depending on the level of traffic that a corridor may have. So the design parameters are determined based on different factors. Usage is one of them. And so we may design a road for 10 years or 15 years, structures for 50 years, 75 years, or 100 years. Meaning, after 10 years, you expect that there'll be a certain type of intervention, because you can add life to a road, but you must intervene before you get to the end stage. If you wait until you get to the end stage, then you have to go back and do everything as you are done at year one. So the idea is that, if you have a 10-year lifespan, you will carry out certain interventions at year 2, at year 3, at year 4, at year 5, up to year 10. And when you get to year 10, you can possibly add another 3 to 5 years to that particular corridor, because you'd have carried out certain maintenance works that would have given you that life. One of the things that happen with these roads is that you may find cracks developing. But if you don't treat with the crack, it becomes an area that pops out.
Right.
So you'll find a little patch popping out, and after that, you get that small hole becoming a crater, and before long, the entire corridor gets affected.
Right. Or Steve, we're going to come back and talk about that crack. We have to take a break right now. We'll be back shortly.
A new story is being written for all Jamaicans. The Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation is on a mission to transform lives. From increasing access to potable water, to providing secure homes for the most vulnerable, and helping you own a piece of the rock, we're revitalizing communities and preserving our environment. And with every road built and every investment made, we're making an impact. See the difference. Feel the difference. Building a better Jamaica for you and me.
You can feel it. Oh, MEGJC.
Welcome back to the MEGJC Matrix. Stephen here was just giving us a little, some education on the cracks in the road and how that affects the durability and the road surface and all of that. So we're going to get right back into that. Finish telling us about the whole idea of how the crack becomes this small hole, and then you're driving along the road and next thing you know is this large crater, and then everybody is saying we need to fix the road. Talk to us some more.
Right. So if we, crack sealing is a is a relatively inexpensive thing to do. So what we're trying to do is to see how best we can get funding into our maintenance program, where once we have gone in and we have rehabilitated we have rehabilitated these roads, when we see signs of weakness, we can quickly intervene before those weak areas become an issue, such that we require a significant capital outlay. One of the things that impact the quality of our roads is the numbers of heavy vehicles that are using them. When we look at the road, for example, I know you're very familiar with the St. Thomas leg of the road from Kingston to say Morant Bay. A lot of aggregate plants are in that space. So a lot of trailers and trucks hauling stones and sand, building materials generally traverse this space. So in designing that particular corridor, we had to take those things into consideration. And so the subgrade and the base and the wearing surface, all of those things would have been factored into it. Now, where you have persons carrying normal loads, and normal meaning the legal load limits, we don't have a problem. The challenge is when we have persons overloading their vehicles, and the overloading now not only damage the road, but very often you're driving along the road out in St. Thomas, you'll find deposits of aggregate on the road. It is a safety issue because other motorists sometimes slide in that loose material. There is also the issue of that material getting into the drainage systems, and then you find the culverts potentially becoming blocked because of this loose material over time going into the drain. The drains are built, as I've always said, to carry water, maybe a little bit of silt deposit, but certainly not the kinds of things that we very often have to be taking out of these drains, like the old fridges and stoves and people cutting. In rural areas, people chop down banana trees and other shrubbery and things, and they dump them in the catch pits.
Wow.
These things cause problems for us, and they cause problems for you who have to be using the road.
Right. So we have a role to play. Jamaicans, you have a role to play. I have a role to play. We all have a role to play in ensuring that our road network is properly maintained. Stephen, there are two initiatives of the government that everybody is talking about now.
Yes.
Let's start with Spark.
All right. So the Spark program is a $45 billion program, very integrated. It involves road, it involves telecoms, it involves water, and it may, in select circumstances, involve sewer systems. Now, it is to be a 3-year program of work. We have started. Building is going to be for 2 years, and then there's a maintenance period for a year. The program or the project has commenced. We are working in Harborview. Everest Drive is where we are now focusing. And over the next several weeks, leading up to the end of March, the projection is that we'll be working right across Jamaica in all 63 constituencies. So persons can, rest assured that Spark will be sparking in many different areas over the next several weeks. And of course, persons can expect to see and feel the difference as we continue with the work in the different areas around the country. There's going to be the opportunity for employment. There's going to be the opportunity for persons to get to know persons from the ministry, persons from the agency, from the contracting company, and we hope that together we'll be able to leave lasting legacies in these communities, in these districts that we are going to be working. The first order of business is going to be the community type roads, because the Prime Minister would have announced that the program is shared $20 billion for community type roads, $20 billion for main roads, meaning roads that NAA would have determined need the treatment, and we will focus on those after the community roads program would have commenced. And as I said, that should be underway by the end of March 2025.
And this Spark program is different from the other projects that are being undertaken by the NAA.
It is different because we have the REACH program that you mentioned. REACH program is...
Wait, before we go to REACH, I just want to ensure that persons understand that the regular road maintenance work that you're doing and the other projects like SHIP and those that would have started already are different from Spark.
Those are different. So we have the maintenance of secondary roads program that continues.
Right.
We do CDF type works that continues. We do tourism enhancement fund type works, TEF type activities. Those activities will continue. So Spark is another distinct project that the NAA is implementing under the government.
Right. And one aspect of it is geared towards community roads.
There you go.
All right. Yeah. Okay, before we also go into the REACH, what is the difference between an NAA road and a road that is owned by or handled by the parish council?
All right. So the National Works Agency is the entity with responsibility for the main road network. Now, the main road network has roughly 5,000 kilometers around the country. And these are roads that connect communities, districts, towns, parishes, kind of thing, where you have the bulk of the traffic using persons trying to get from one end of Jamaica to the next.
Right.
The roads that are in the districts, let me call them internal roads. Those roads are the responsibility of the municipal corporations or the local authorities. In Kingston and St. Andrew, persons tend to have a difficulty identifying which roads are NAA and which ones are the KCMC. We say to persons, if you see the JUTC buses on your road in Kingston, 9 out of 10 chances are that road is the responsibility of the NAA. So you look at the bus routes, and those are typically the NAA roads in the corporate area.
We just spoke about Spark, we spoke about SHIP, and now we reach REACH. Stephen, what is REACH?
All right. So coming out of the experience with Hurricane Beryl in July 2024, the government implemented the REACH program, where we sought to arrest or to address some of the bad road conditions resulting from the hurricane. Now, we have been working. The initial allocation was 1.5 billion. The government then increased it to $3 billion. Well, we had a significant challenge because from Beryl in July up to early December or late November, we had consistent heavy rain right across the country. And so even with the initial sums that we got under the REACH program, we were not able to deal with many of the issues that came up because of the heavy rains and the state that it left many of the roads in. The government then decided to upsize the REACH program, and so an additional $2 billion. So we have now $5 billion that we're using to treat with roads under the REACH program. The last $2 billion, we're using that to target main roads. And a lot of the activities that persons would have been seeing, certainly over the last 3 weeks or so, are in relation to the 2 billion program. The 3 billion program is still going on, but with the 3 billion program, it involves some minor roads. It involves, because we have 3 classes of main roads. We have what are called A, B, and C roads. So you'll find the initial 3 targeting some of the B and C roads, and possibly some minor, some parochial type roads that are heavily used. But the 2 billion is exclusively for the main roads, and it is through the 2 billion program that persons would have seen places like Spanish Town Road, East Kings House Road, Windward Road is being worked on as we speak. We have Hope Road that was done, Old Hope Road, that's in the corporate area. We have a lot of work going on in the west. As a matter of fact, every parish has works going on now, because we know that persons out there have been feeling the effect or the impact of the bad roads, especially their vehicles, certainly, and they're feeling in their pockets because of the need to replace and repair their vehicles.
Right. Stephen, as a regular Jamaican, right? How do I know, in just layman terms, what is being done as Spark and what is being done as REACH? Because we get the questions all the time. Some people say fixing road is just one thing. So how do we explain that part?
All right. So Spark is a rehabilitative or reconstructive project.
Right.
The REACH program speaks to patching and sheet patching. Right? Under the Spark, we are going to be doing pipelaying activities. We don't do that under REACH. We may put in telecoms as well in areas under Spark,
right,
where telecoms are not there. Then we don't do that under REACH. So REACH is really meant to be the quick,
an emergency.
There you go.
Okay.
To a situation that is existing. The Spark program is of greater value and will be a little longer in terms of its implementation and the results bearing and the fruit that will come at the back end.
Right.
So the program a project on the Spark may last 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, depending on the nature of the work.
Right. Okay. Stephen, we're now heading into 25-26 financial year. What are some of the major projects coming up for the end of the year?
Well, we just spoke about
outside of Spark.
We just spoke about the Spark. We spoke about the Bridge program that we are quite exciting. We're excited about because we know that persons out there, they have been clamoring for new bridges. We actually have a ranking as it relates to our structures, and we know where every bridge is on our network, and we know what ranking is attached to those. Once they get below 30 in terms of the ranking, we usually want to replace them. And we have been doing a pretty good job at replacing structures. But of course, with time and aging, more comes onto that list. And so we are quite looking forward to that particular program.
Yeah, understood. So Stephen, for persons who may want to contact the end of the year, I have a road in my area that needs fixing. How do I reach the end of the year?
Well, we have our regular contact information. We telephone 926-3210 and it goes up to 9. We are on social media. We have a website. So there are many avenues through which the NAA can be contacted, and we welcome persons contacting us for update and feedback.
And those are the same for the Spark. If I want to nominate
there's a Spark website, Ask Spark, that persons can actually log on to, and they will get their questions answered.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us today, Stephen. Thank you for shedding light on the incredible work of the NAA and the strides being made to improve Jamaica's road network. Thank you for tuning in to MEGJC Matrix. Follow us on all platforms at MEGJC_JM and on our website at megjc.gov.jm. And you would have heard as well for the Spark as well as NAA projects. So stay with us as we continue to explore the projects and people driving Jamaica's progress. See you next time.